We want to thank you for being here. We recognize the commitment that you're taking to pursue excellence. You're just one step closer to achieving success. And the Institute is here to help at every step, wherever you are in your business journey. We've helped thousands of shops over decades and across the nation, from service advisor and manager training to a shop that's just starting out, or even those who are planning their growth, scaling from 10 to 20 to 30 locations. Those that are preparing for private equity sale, or even those that are succeeding their business to the next generation. The Institute and our many coaches with years of experience, both from inside and outside the industry, are here to provide education and tools to get you on your way. You do not have to do this alone. We hope you enjoy the content to come. For a better business, a better life, and a better industry, the Institute.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on when and where you're joining us from today. If you are in the live event, it's either good morning or good afternoon, unless, of course, you're on the other side of the world of us, and then it might actually be good evening. Glad we are here together today. We're going to have a phenomenal discussion. Love to have this interactive discussion as we're talking to our friends and our family, and I'm glad to be here with you. My family, my automotive aftermarket family. Put into the comments. This is to be an interactive webinar. Put into the comments your shop name and where you're joining us from today. Love to give a shout out to all those who are here for the live event as we continue to build and grow this network that we've got with great information and great knowledge and great interaction that we've got as we lock arms to really elevate this industry and make it the best that we can possibly make it. So give a big shout out to Andrew Knutson joining us from Long Island. Good morning. Good morning for me. Good afternoon for you, Andrew. Glad you are here. Can't wait for that little baby girl to show up. That's going to be awesome. And Stu joining us from Salt Lake City, Utah. Glad to have you here, Stu. The ever-present Mr. Keith Brown, Tire World in Salt Lake City, Utah. Keith, glad to have you here, brother. Good to see you, man. Cody Morlock. Cody, Advanced Automotive, Redding, California. I know Redding, California. I almost went to Redding University. Redding, California. Glad to have you here with us, Cody. Welcome. Welcome to our webinar. At 42 days and counting, Andrew Knutson with the little baby girl. You know, she'll have you right here, and you'll love it. Having a little girl is awesome. Excited for our discussion today. We are speaking with service advisors today, and as our main highlight, our main focus, we have with us today our service advisor, trainer, facilitator, head coach. It is Mr. Ever-present, ever wonderful, Mr. Mark Seawell. Mr. Mark, glad to have you with us as we discuss the advisor program. This is going to be awesome. Thank you for being here.
Glad to be here, Jimmy. Thanks.
Yeah, nice. And Brandon's on too. So today, I'm excited to dive into this incredible journey with Brandon Ballou. He is a powerhouse in the automotive aftermarket as a service advisor and as a former kickboxer, MMA fighter. We're going to explore how these two worlds have shaped the mindset, the discipline, the ability to lead a high-pressure environment. Brandon, thank you for being here, brother. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, glad you are here. I'm going to kick it right off and ask you right out of the gates here. How in the world did you get into the automotive aftermarket? I know that there's some family business here as well. For those who don't know, explain how it is you got into the role of a service advisor.
So I got into the automotive aftermarket because my father started a shop. My dad was always a technician. I was always around cars, helping him fix stuff on the weekends. And then he opened his own shop. And so I started there as a technician. And then I left and did a short tour as a technician at a couple dealerships, and then came back and was a tech. And then, we fixed a lot of cars. But my dad with 3 techs, him being the advisor and the head diagnostician, he just couldn't balance it all. So he said, hey, we're going to try with you as the advisor. And with no training, no nothing, I got thrown on the front counter. And that's how I got my start as an advisor.
Dude, welcome to the deep end. It's swim or survive. You're either going to swim or sink. Wow, that's amazing. He just threw you in and said, okay, have at it.
Yep.
Seriously. And how long ago was that, Brandon?
That was it was about 4 or 5 years ago. 5 years ago.
4 or 5 years. So 4 or 5 years you were treading water, trying to keep your head above water, trying not to drown. Dude, that had to be tough.
Yeah, it was a big change. Everybody, when you're in the back shop, every technician who's never done it thinks, you're just someone who answers the phone, books appointments, and tells people what the price is, until you start dealing with the public and realize people are way harder to fix than cars.
Right? I mean, that's all you do. You just answer the phone.
Yeah.
No, there's more to it than that. There's more to it than that. And what advice would you give to a technician who's never been an advisor?
So advice to give to a technician who's never been an advisor, find a routine and find training. Find something that gets you in the same headspace every day so you can, have the same performance every day, and get training, because as much as you think you know about cars, you don't know anywhere near as much about people.
Oh, that's true. That's good. I wonder, in our audience, how many of you in our audience have gone from being a technician to being the shop owner, or from being a technician to being the advisor? I wonder if that's in our audience. How many have done that? I know Andrew, at least I believe Andrew, didn't you wrench before and now you're the advisor and manager and owner? So yeah, put that in there for those of you joining us. And we are streaming live. We are streaming live both on YouTube and Facebook and on StreamYard. So where you're joining from would be amazing. Keith Brown came up. Keith Brown came up front about 34 years ago. So Keith, were you wrenching before as a technician? And Andrew was 15 years. 15 years as a tech, Andrew? Cody, shop partner, tech, advisor, and then owner. Oh, shop porter. Wow. That's quite the road there, Cody. 28 years. Oh, he started when he was 12. I was gonna say, I've seen pictures of Cody and he looks 28. Oh, that is awesome, you guys. So, question for you about your background in martial arts and kickboxing, MMA. How did that journey help you in your role as an advisor?
Being able to deal with stress and high pressure situations, coming through any sort of martial arts or combat training, you're gonna be under stress. So most people, when they get put in the advisor role, that's usually when everybody decides is to either take it as a career and learn, or change careers. Because it's a much more higher stress environment than anybody who's never been in customer service can imagine. And so you either learn to roll with it or you change jobs.
I had in my mind, you were talking about your role as a kickboxer, not as a customer service advisor when it's high stress. Is it high stress?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, both are high stress, because I mean, whether you're on the phone talking to someone who's upset about a problem and you're trying to offer them a solution, when our industry, everybody thinks we're just trying to cause more problems or charge them more. So we have that unfortunate label on our industry. But then going into the combat kickboxing side, you have someone who's trying to kick and punch you, and you're trying to kick and punch them without being hit. And I don't care how long you've been doing it, nobody wants to get hit. So both are pretty high stress situations.
Oh, that's so true. So which is more stressful, martial arts or service advisor?
Oh, the front counter.
Yeah.
Advising is way more
Yeah.
stressful. Here's the thing: no matter what fight you're doing, whether it's boxing and it's 12 2-minute rounds, or 3-minute rounds, or 3 5-minute rounds, or 3 2-minute rounds, you'll have one round with a customer for an hour and a half on the front counter. So advising's way more high stress.
Mark, they don't ring a bell and tell everybody go to their corners.
You try, it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Mark, what's the training or what's the advice that you give to your service advisors in your training program that helps them to deal with this high stress situation as a service advisor?
So a couple things, really: preparation. If you're prepared, the better prepared that you are, the more that you're going to be able to manage and mitigate some of that stress that occurs. After you're prepared, of course, there are different techniques to make sure that you're calming people down, using the correct body language, using the correct vocal tones, things like that, as well as having a good solution and putting yourself in the position ahead of time to have proper expectations so you don't end up in a stressful situation.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so true. With the Boy Scouts, that's their motto is be prepared. So the better prepared you are, the better the conversation will go because you have the answers. And if you don't have the answers, what advice do you give, Mark, when advisors don't have the answers? How do they get the answers?
Well, you start with the truth, tell the customer you don't know. And that the truth goes further than anybody ever knows. And then promise to go get the answers and get the answers from wherever you need. If it's from the technician, from another advisor, or maybe your manager or a coach, go get the answer there. Sometimes there's other avenues. You can even consult the internet and find at least a path and get down the path. But ultimately, the worst stress that you can potentially have is making up an answer and it not being right.
Oh yeah, no, that's the worst thing of all, making up answers. No, please don't do that ever, 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 ever. No,
Common
always
mistake with a new advisor.
Oh, so true.
Mm-hmm.
So true. Brandon, be prepared is the Boy Scouts motto. What principle from your martial arts do you live by on a daily in both your personal life and in your professional life?
Having a set of values, and no matter what, you're not deviating from those. That's something at the base of every martial arts school, or most martial arts schools, any good school, whether they're a school training for competition or a school training just to teach kids proper skills and good habits. You need a core foundation of values. Always be respectful, always tell the truth, items like that. So that cross-reference over directly. And on the front counter, being trustworthy, no pun intended, is the most important thing. If you can talk to a customer, no matter how bad the situation is, if you're sticking to your values and you truly believe you're doing what's right for that customer and you're sticking to what you know is right, it doesn't matter what happens. You are doing what's right.
Yeah.
And no matter what happens at the end of the day, you did your best.
Oh, I love
And
that.
that's something I learned directly from the martial arts coming up as a kid.
So, do you fight for the customer or do you fight for the vehicle that's in the shop?
So my job is I'm the advocate for the vehicle. So, and I work with the customer, but I'm the advocate for the vehicle. They speak two different languages. What the advisor really is almost a translator. So the car comes in and the technicians figure out exactly what's going on and they give all that information to the advisor. The advisor then prioritizes everything to make sure that vehicle is in its absolute best shape and here's everything your car needs, because your car is not going to tell you what it needs. That's our job. We tell you everything it needs. Now, I present it all and I talk to you, but based on your situation as a customer, I'll help and prioritize things and make a plan to get that stuff done. Whether it's all today, whether it's over 3 months, whatever it is. But as the advisor, you're the advocate for the car, but you're there to help the customer.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And in your role as a service advisor, when you were very first starting out, what were some of those challenges that you had as an advisor? Because I'm guessing that when you first started, being an advocate for the car wasn't second nature for you. You were speaking more in the terms of the customers. What were some of the challenges you faced when you very first started out?
The challenges in the beginning is I was almost an advocate for the customer's wallet or the customer's financial situation, which that
Oh, yeah.
that doesn't fix their problem. Finances are important and people need money to fix their cars, but if their car is unsafe, if their car is unreliable, I shouldn't be making decisions based on their financial standpoint. We need to make decisions on how can we keep their car safe and how can we keep their car reliable, and then offer as many solutions as we can to help them get there given whatever their financial state is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because you didn't buy it, break it, or drive it. You're
No.
just advocating for the car, and it's the customer that's got to figure out how to make it work.
Because if we're making decisions just off the financial aspect of the car, that car is just going to get worse and worse, and it's going to become a bigger and bigger problem. Financially, it's I keep the money in my bank account. Why am I going to put it in a car that's just going to continue to depreciate in value?
Yeah.
That's just the financial aspect of it. But when you look at the reality of it, the car needs to be reliable. So you can, when you get in it and need to go somewhere, whether it's your daughter's soccer practice or somewhere urgent, it's going to start up and take you there safely.
Oh, it's so true. So true. You got to be an advocate for the car. Now, Mark, question for you. When we talk about an advisor selling from their own pocketbook, which I understand that, how do you break that idea? How do you break that habit, that mindset? What do you, as a coach facilitator, what do you train your advisors on?
So typically that comes from two different places. First, not understanding the concept of being the advocate, as Brandon so eloquently defined. Being the advocate for the car and while helping the customer, because really what happens is the customer comes in and hires you to be the advocate for the car. That's really what they're doing. And once the advisor understands that concept, then we build up their confidence to be able to have the hard conversations, and understanding that they're being right. They're right with whatever they are. They're righteous, as well as having the correct conversation about the right things. And as Brandon said earlier, living by the code. We understand what the level of what we expect a car should look like and be like. Our job is to keep the vehicle safe, keep the vehicle reliable, help the customer to save money over time and time over time, and ultimately not be aggravated. If we can come to those types of conclusions, and we can teach an advisor to do that, they don't have that fear anymore, and sell with their own wallet any longer.
Yeah. So what advice do you give to that advisor that the customer has said, hey, you know what? All I want is an oil service. I drove it in, I'm driving it out. I don't want to buy anything else. This is all I need. This is all the car needs. I just need an oil service.
I don't understand, because you just said that was our customer, but it's not, because my customers don't come into my shop that way. My customers, when they come into my shop, we have vetted who that customer is, because the type of people that want to do business at my facility, they are people who want their car to be safe and reliable. They're people who want their car to make sure that it's up on its maintenance. They don't have to be able to do everything all at the same time. We're not sticking to just that, but I want people that want the same things. I mean, it's the same. If I'm looking for a better meal somewhere, I'm not going to McDonald's and demanding that they're going to have ribeye steak. It's and by the same token, I wouldn't walk into the steakhouse and go demand a
Big Mac and fries.
Right. There's that whole thing, and so at my shop, it's just not that, and it's okay. There are shops that are out there that are structured to cater to that type of client that wants to come in and says, nope, I just want an oil change.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Yeah.
They're quick lube oil places.
Yeah, that's what they do.
If you roll through one of those, your oil change is $130, because they have to make their profit somewhere.
Yeah.
And your oil service is probably not $130.
Should be.
Maybe it should be, but and who knows, maybe it is. But typically what happens is, those places, the quick lube places, they're set up to do that. They're set up to make profit on volume, and that's what they do. They do it in 10 minutes. They have their profit model that works, and that's it. Ours just strictly isn't like that. We have a way where we're going to make sure that our customer is taken care of and the vehicle is taken care of. I love these cars. I want to see them on the road forever and ever.
Yeah. And selfishly, if we will, I want to keep you safe on the road, because it actually keeps my family safe on the road as well.
Sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Andrew's 100% right. It is our job on the phone to vet that customer and make sure that we teach them that what type of customer can be our customer. Everybody has the opportunity, but not everybody wants to be.
Yeah, it's our job to educate those customers that, you know, some people, they come and I just want an oil change, and then we have to figure out why that's all they want. Is it because they had a bad experience somewhere else and, you know, someone took them for a ride? Is it because that's all they think they need and they need to be educated on, okay, maybe there are other things, like, well, like what's their why? And then
Right.
if you can figure that out, you can make someone your customer.
And
Oh, I
and
love it.
ultimately too, sometimes people just aren't educated about it. Someone somewhere has given them some bad information about, oh yeah, every time you go there, they're going to try to sell you something. And so when they do that, you just tell them no. And ultimately, I mean, anybody that's maintained any type of anything, not just a car, but anything. I mean,
Yeah.
people wash their driveway every year, don't they? And I mean that's maintenance for your driveway. People wash their house, wash their car. That's even just maintenance, right?
Yep.
What if people never did that? What would happen?
A lot of dirty cars rolling.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Question for both of you. And Mark, this will give you a few seconds to think of your favorite. Brandon, you're first. What's a customer interaction that you'll never forget? What's a customer interaction that you'll never forget, and why? Why was that such a significant customer interaction, Brandon? What you got, brother?
It was a striking moment when I seen that. So my dad started Trustworthy, and it's a moment that really showed me that our values are in line with what we need to be. We had a customer come in, and, you know, the description, and there was some loss in conversation with what was actually going on, and we ended up replacing headlight bulbs when the actual lenses were clouded over, and so no matter how bright the bulbs were, this customer wasn't going to be able to see. It was a really good customer of ours, still to this day. And he came in, and he was like, look, I'm a little disappointed with the last visit. I thought we were going to fix this. I thought we were doing this. And instead we did this. And before I could even respond or the customer could say anything else, my dad said, I just ordered 2 headlight assemblies for you. They'll be in on Tuesday. We're going to take care of it. We're sorry for the miscommunication. 100% fault on our end. We're going to take care of you. And that moment really struck, and I was like, that's why we're here. We're here to help people, and we're going to do what's right. We have integrity, whether it hurts or not, we're always going to do what's right. And that was a situation that really proved that to me.
Wow, that's a strong lesson to learn too, especially from Pops, huh?
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. And has that client continued with Trustworthy Auto?
Absolutely. He was here last week. He's what he does for a living. He's an Uber driver, and so we see him like a professional Uber driver.
Oh yeah, you
And
see him like every 2 to 3 weeks, probably.
Yeah, and he has his own private charter company to and from airports on top of that. So he does really awesome for himself. We see him all the time. We have a close enough relationship. He doesn't call the shop or anything. He's texting me personally. Anytime I need a ride to the airport, he's who we're reaching out to. And we've developed, and that's part of that, to where with your customers and stuff, it can't just be a transactional relationship. You can build a real relationship, know the family, know the kids, know what their actual purpose for the cars are, and you can make a little bit better decisions for them depending on their life, not just what some book says.
Oh man, I love that. That is awesome. That is awesome. It's good to have a good friend in the automotive industry from a customer point of view, and then also from a industry point of view. It's great to have an Uber driver that you can rely on.
Yeah,
that's super cool. All right, Mark, what is your most interesting customer interaction that you'll never forget? Now, for those of you who don't know, Mark, was it 14 shops that you used to take care of and manage?
Yes.
Do all the coaching and training? Yeah, 14 shops. Okay. Yep. So you've seen a lot.
I've seen a few. I've seen a few. Let me see. Gosh. The only reason that this one's even come into mind is because I was just telling the story to somebody the other day, where we had a client that was a guest at our shop. We'd quoted out rack and pinion. It was a Honda Accord. I don't remember which year or whatever, but excuse me. It was a Honda Accord. It needed a rack and pinion, and it was a whole bunch of labor for whatever it was. That particular service was a lot, and we vetted the products that we installed because we wanted to make sure that we had the best possible components, because we attached a warranty to it that was quality. and our labor rate was also probably higher than most of the competition around town because we deserve to be. We provided a considerably better quality service, just like many of our clients do. And the job had been quoted out to the customer, and the customer decided that they were going to search elsewhere. For whatever reason, the service advisor couldn't go over the value that was attached to it, and so it ultimately that particular customer got that job done somewhere else, and had the rec and pinion done and all that. But then later, as you can expect, with a subpar component and probably subpar labor, the part failed, and it was only months later. And I happened to be in that location at the time, and the customer came in and he was angry with us because we must have misdiagnosed it, because the problem was still there. There was a noise that was coming from the rack and pinion, something, I don't remember what it was. And so when we went and we saw a brand new, we saw the noise coming from the rack and pinion on our roadside, we were like, oh my gosh, well, let's go wreck back and reinspect it. We brought the vehicle in, figured out what the problem was, and it was also coming back from that rack and pinion. And we're like, wow, we told them they needed it. That's what we said it was. And then we figured out that he said, oh no, we had this rack and pinion replaced already. The noise is still there. It has to be coming from someplace else. Our original diagnosis must have been incorrect. Well, the best thing about that was that we were able to prove to that client that our diagnosis was right, and at the same time win over that customer, because whatever they were able to find later, they had to go through a whole bunch of hassle. They didn't have any warranty on the service. Ended up that car came back to our shop, and we took care of the wreck and pinion and corrected the problem, and that customer had to pay for it twice. They became our client forever.
Yeah.
After that, they never went anywhere else. And this customer, he happened to actually live very close to my sister. And so like one day I was at my sister's house for a party in the backyard, right? Barbecue, burgers and hot dogs and stuff. And he happened to be there. And he walks in, he's like, oh, Mark, I'm glad to see you. Let me just tell you everything about it. And he's our best friend. And so that was, it was one of those stories where it's like, oh, this is, if people just listen to us in the first place.
Yeah.
How many times, can we get that? I want that shirt too, that Jennifer was talking about yesterday. If you just listen to Jennifer.
Yeah. If I'd have just done what Jennifer said the first time, everything would be okay.
Right. I need one of those.
So, Mark, I thought for sure you were going to say the customer was upset because you hadn't convinced them to buy it from you the first time, which it sounds like it did come back around all the way, where they were upset that you hadn't sold them the first time because they still had to pay for it twice.
Right. Well, that was the thing, is he became our client forever, and we got we had a good relationship after that. Several times he was in after that a lot.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. It's great to have a loyal customer, a key tosser, somebody that'll just toss you the keys and say, all right, call me when it's done.
Well, ultimately that's it, right? So, we talk a lot about trust and how you make trust, and it's character and it's competency.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you end up multiplying that character and competency with either consistency of a visit and seeing it all the time the same way, or your ability to talk to people, your communication. And so when that's all together in the beginning, if you don't have that, and that communication is the only thing that's sitting there, that's the strength. And like advisors like Brandon has gone through our program, and I'm so proud of just how well he communicates to customers versus, I mean, before he was all thumbs, and he'll admit it himself, right? He didn't know what to say, how to say it, and that's that's I'm so proud of just seeing Brandon's growth and other people's growth. I got to see it over this weekend. Just a bunch of people that were just doing it right, and I was just so excited.
Oh, that's super cool. Speaking of Brandon's growth, where was he when he started with us, and where is he now? I mean, do we judge that by average repair order, car counts, increase in closings? How do you judge success in a coaching and training environment?
Gosh, it's all of it. We use several metrics to figure out where people are. I like to use gross profit per hour because it seems to be the culmination of everything. It's like it's your top end number.
Yeah.
And Brandon raised his, gosh, was about $65 or so.
Yeah, it's almost probably tripled, maybe quadrupled.
Yeah.
That's when, we were the shop that we fixed a boatload of cars, but we fixed a boatload of cars and moved a lot of money, but none of it made it to the bank account or the bottom line. And then, we made some adjustments, the front counter probably being the biggest, held our margins where we needed to be, at least at the minimum of the industry standard, instead of, pricing with our own wallet.
Yeah.
Made some huge differences in our shop and even customer satisfaction, because we were able to offer our clients so much more.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And just as much. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
That's one of the things. And, we don't often talk about this, but you can't offer customer satisfaction to folks if you don't make some profit, because ultimately, if like the story that Brandon was just talking about getting new headlight assemblies for this car and all that stuff, because they didn't, there was some kind of miscommunication that happened ahead of time. Yeah. And the right call was to solve the problem. They wanted to solve the customer. They did something wrong. They wanted to solve the problem, and their easiest solution was to get new headlight assemblies. Well, they couldn't have ever done that if they didn't make some profit, because if you don't make some profit, you don't have any money in the bank, you can't buy stuff. So, that's one of those things where the more profit that you make, it helps your ability to ultimately solve problems for people, especially if you cause them, and you can move on and go to the next one, and just your day becomes a lot less stressful.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's solid. That's solid. Well, I forgot where I was going with my next question.
Perfect.
Let's go into the crossover between fighting, martial arts, kickboxing, MMA, and advising. How has your combat training influenced the way you handle conflict with clients or teammates, even inside the shop?
So I've been pretty trained and well versed in being able to deal with stress. So that part's never really got to me. There could be 10 people in the office. I could have an upset employee, customer, and manager all at the same time. And, it's just deal with each problem one step at a time. It really comes down to, and, I might be a broken record, but if you have your beliefs and you have a process that's in line with your beliefs, you'll always get the right result. It might not be the best. It might not be the funnest. It might hurt a little if, it's something to where you got to pay for a set of headlight assemblies because it's what you believe is right. But as long as you have a process and you have your values, it doesn't matter if it's fighting, service advising, any other career field, any other sport, you'll always get to the right answer.
Nice. I love that. So you've never had to headlock a technician or punch him in the face or kick him in the head?
Nope. That's one thing we're super proud of in our shop is the culture and we've built. We've always taken care of our guys. That's something that's been passed on right from my dad. He always believed we got to take care of the team, and we go above and beyond more than what any numbers on a spreadsheet should ever tell us we should allocate to our technicians. We just do what we know is right, and we take care of our team. And, for instance, one of them, he loves to go race at the local speedway track just so we can race, in the clunker car events. And we've bought him the car, and every year, and when he crashes it, we get him another one. And that's something we've just always done for him because he's been with us coming on 9 years.
Oh, wow.
And that's one of those things that it's not in any spreadsheet. It's not something we care about. We have that relationship with them, and we're going to do that to take care of them.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And thank you for mentioning spreadsheets because it sparked the idea. And I remember what I was going to remember, Mark. Gross profit, love gross profit, love that you were able to increase gross profit. And I also assume that this translated into your net profit as well. You were able to keep more because empty shelves don't feed mouths, but full shelves do.
Yes. So definitely did compared to where we were. That's probably
Yeah.
where we struggle the most because we're that shop that, we always give back. My dad's always reinvested. We're always adding another loaner car to the fleet so we can make sure our customer has a loaner car. Always buying the newest and latest tools to make sure the technicians can get the job done faster so we can get the car back to the customer. We're always putting it back into the business, or if there's something left over, then my dad's probably the most humble give back to everybody person I know. Like our technicians' pay will increase if there's anywhere else we can do. We've always reinvested it back into the shop.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome.
So on
That's
the
awesome.
actual spreadsheet, the net
Yeah.
at the bottom might not look where it's supposed to, but the gross is taking care of it because all the stuff we're adding to grow the business, take care of the team, or take care of the customer just keeps getting better.
Well, that's really good. That's really good. Congratulations for doing that. Okay, question for you about crossover here between the combat training and service advising. Is there a specific mindset or preparation ritual that you developed in the ring that helps you on your daily service advisor routine?
Yes, Mark's already chuckling because he knows where I'm going with this. And I didn't put it into a process until training our latest advisor. But same thing going into a fight. You got to psych yourself into what you're going into, and you have to believe you're going to win. If you don't believe you're going to win, you're going to lose. Whether you believe you're going to win or not, you're right. Whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. And so having that headspace, having that belief. So training our newest advisor, you might have a bad night, a bad weekend, something might happen in your personal life to where if you bring that into work, you're not going to perform. If you bring that into the ring, you're not going to perform. So we put it, and it's in the process, like written physically when you check in, what you do when you get into the shop. And it says, put on your super suit. Batman can't bring Bruce Wayne's problems when he goes to save Gotham City. He's got to be Batman. And so you put on your super suit, you get in your headspace. I'm going to be the best advisor I can be today. And then you can deal with, your personal problems after at the end of the day.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I brushed up on a little bit of boxing trivia. Rocky 3. Do you remember Rocky 3 when he was fighting and he lost?
Yes.
Because he was afraid. His mindset was not right.
Yep.
And that scene where he and Creed are on the beach and Adrian's there, he finally admits that he was afraid. So he was going to lose.
Yep.
Don't lose. It's in your mindset.
Yep.
So you talk about your mindset, and that's good advice for a service advisor. What other advice would you give to a service advisor that's just starting out in the industry so that you can help them to not feel overwhelmed? There's so much that happens. How can we help them?
It really boils down to process. Have a process or a routine for everything. Because if I answered the phone differently every time and presented the information to the customers differently every time and checked in the parts differently every time, I have no routine, and every time feels like this new unorganized experience. Versus I hate scripts, so I'm not saying a script by any means, but have a process for how you're going to answer the phone. Have a process for this is the direction I'm going to go through the call with the customer. This is how this process is done, and it makes it so much easier to learn and understand where everything's going and coming from, and it just makes things easier.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And Mark, what would you add to that for a new service advisor in the industry? How can we help them to not get overwhelmed with all of the tasks that a service advisor has to do on the daily? How can we help that service advisor?
So I really can't add anything new to that because I think Brandon said it perfectly. Have a process. When you have a plan to go through things, I mean, the science behind it is that your brain needs less blood, less oxygen in the blood to actually fire the neurons to do the thing. It's you actually have to use less brain power when you already have a process that you do. It's like it's like when you drive home from work and you already know the way to go home, and you show up and you're like, I'm here already. Or when you're going through and just going through your morning, half awake, half asleep, and you've already made coffee and you've gotten your bagel. I mean, it happens that it's just, this is what you do every morning. This is how it works. And you're like, wow, I'm done with this already, because you get into that muscle memory. And really what it is that you have this process that happens. And when you do that, everything, like you need less bandwidth to do it. You need less brain power to do it. And even better than that, it just becomes who you are and what you do. It's so it makes life so easy. And so
Yeah.
the thing that I'll say is just, you get yourself into a routine, you get yourself into a process, and do it the same way. And you don't have to do it like, you don't have to use the same words to say it, but you have to have the same meaning when you say it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what processes, they prevent so many problems. And then if you do a process over and over and over again, it becomes a habit. And then eventually you're preventing all these problems without even thinking about it. It's just muscle memory, like Mark said, to where how many more problems you probably would have had to deal with that day if you didn't have that process down, to where now it's just muscle memory.
Processes prevent problems.
Amen.
Perfect processes prevent problems.
Yeah.
While eating pickles.
Oh boy, now we're getting there, Peter. So Brandon, and to what you're talking about, what you have now as a habit started out as a process, started out as a script, and you learn that script, and then eventually you're able to throw that script away because you don't need it anymore. It's now habitual for you. So to duplicate you, write it down in a process so that the next guy, the next gal can step into your position and do exactly the same things you do, the exact same way that you do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's the same for anything. You want to transition even over into the combat side of the world. If you develop a poor habit, a bad process of always leaving your hands down and your head open, well, you're going to get punched in the face a lot. But if you force yourself to develop a habit where your hands are always up, you're always ready, you're throwing punches with the proper technique from practicing the process of punching, there we go. Then you'll have the right technique and form, and it'll be a habit when it comes to the real fight. Because you can know how to do things, but if it's not a habit, when the real show starts, it goes out the window. Right?
Proper punching prevents poor performance.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you, Mark. You started it. I love it. I love what you guys are doing. I love what you're talking about. And Brandon, how did working with the Institute impact your approach to your position as an advisor, to your position as a leader at the shop? How has working with the Institute helped you?
The Institute, just talking about my career in the shop is just the tip of the iceberg. So I was a technician, and without the Institute, I don't know if my dad would have ever even made the transition to put me up front. That was something the Institute recommended. Try it, see what happens. And then going through all the training with Mark, learning how to not just be an advisor, how to speak, how to understand people, understanding different personality types, how to work with people, learning from Cecil, how being fair to everybody. Everybody needs to win in a business environment. So they didn't just impact my career, they impacted my life. Mark and Cecil, I mentioned at the summit, there's probably a group of 5 people outside my immediate family that make me who I am. And Mark and Cecil are 2 of those 5. Like, you remove that, this guy right here probably doesn't exist. Just the level of communication I have now, being able to communicate in and out my personal life and professional life, understanding people, trying to solve problems with solutions, not just opinions. And it's come full circle. The Institute has done much more than just elevate my family's business.
That's awesome. Mark, did you ever think you'd have that kind of an impact?
Hold on, I'm still tearing up. That's it. You know what? When I started this, I don't even know how many years ago, when I started doing this type of thing, working with people, I really didn't have a clue what it would do. Like I really didn't. Like I was just like, oh well, that's just the next logical step for me. Is I'm good at sales, communication, leadership, operations. Well, the next best thing is to go in and teach people how to do sales, leadership, and all that. And I never really thought about it at the time, about how much impact I could have on people. And I come to find out that I crave it more than air. I mean, more than oxygen. I see people just achieving a better version of themselves, and that's what, like, that's where I go, okay, I built that. That's awesome, and I feel pride. And and so at the first, to answer your question, Jimmy, no, I didn't think at all. I just thought it was the next logical step. I was like, cool, I'm going to have to work less and probably make more money. And I made less money and I work more. But but what I get out of it is so much better. There's so much more out of that. And I'm truly thankful that that what I get to do is share what I know with people to help them grow as individuals and make my impact, not just on our industry, but on the people in it.
I love it. I love it. That's super awesome. I'm thank you for sharing, Mark. I really appreciate that. If you had a magic wand, Mark, and you could change anything about the industry, what would you change in the automotive aftermarket?
Gosh, does it have to be just one thing?
If
So
you can narrow it down to one thing, yeah, what's the one thing?
Okay, so if it was one thing, I wish that everyone would take the path that Brandon here has gone through, where he took a step back, understood that things weren't going right, and he wasn't doing it exactly as he should, and that he needed help. It's like a 12-step program. Realize that you need help, and then ask for it and get it, and then pour everything into it. I wish, if there was one thing I could wish for the industry, it was that people had a different mindset about getting help.
Yeah.
Oh, Jimmy froze.
No, Jimmy froze. Oh no, he's good now.
Oh, I felt that. I felt that freeze for a second.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, that was scary.
Anytime you unplug Jimmy,
I
that's what
agree with
happens.
you,
He just stops moving. You got to plug him back. Ooh, kick the cord.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Make sure those batteries are in nice and tight.
Yeah.
Hey, so yeah, I agree with you, Mark. I wish more would step up and accept the coaching and training and the feedback and the accountability. And I think that's where most people really kick back, is that accountability, that level of, here's the training, here's the understanding, and we're going to hold you accountable to it.
Right.
So thank you for what you're doing in the industry and with shops and shop owners. It's a world of difference. And in fact, we've got a service advisor training class coming up here pretty soon, don't we?
Well,
3-day.
I've got a 3-day one coming up. Yeah, it's in sunny Utah, next to the mountains. It's the best time to be in Utah in the summer. If you don't like skiing, I guess, but it's coming up in August. It's second weekend of August. If you go to the Institute, wearetheinstitute.com, under the events page, you can find that, everything to sign up for on that. It's a 3-day workshop. And what it does is we take the advisor through an intensive, it's boot camp. I mean, let's call it what it is. It's boot camp. We take advisors and we break them down and then build them up. And what we do is we go through communication skills. We go through working through problems with customers and things like that. We go through a sales process. We go through understanding KPIs and understanding what to do with them. I mean, it is a boot camp where we break everything down. We break all the bad habits and we put good habits in. And in my opinion, I'm biased. It's one of the most high impact things that we do. We go fast and hard, and it's a lot of information all at once. And typically, whoever goes to those workshops, they come back tired, and it's not because we have them doing jumping jacks. It's because their brain is hurting.
We melt the brain and then put it back in. So is this for advisors that are only the brand news, or the somewhat experienced, or the highly developed or highly skilled? Is this in a class for all, or just the brand news?
So this is for everybody. Certainly brand new people will get one thing out of it. And we have the way that we design our training is that someone could take the training that has years of experience or zero experience or anything in between. And we have different parts engineered to impact those specific people. And we're able to take the people that have the experience and do these things well, and have them help demonstrate examples, which is also part of education. Being able to teach other people. Actually, I think you learn more from. Ask Brandon. He's been doing that. He's been doing that all the last part of the last year and all of this part of this year. I'll bet he's learned more about it than the entire time that he got beat up by me all the time.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Well, I think everybody should attend this 3-day service advisor class, especially if you're a new service advisor or an experienced service advisor. You will come away with more knowledge, information, and a better mindset to help you. Yeah. Brandon, final questions for you. What would you say to any other fighters or athletes, for that matter, that are considering transitioning into the automotive aftermarket?
So any fighters or any athlete in general, take the discipline you've learned from being able to train every day and get what you need to done to be the best athlete, fighter, competitor you can, and take that discipline and put it into training. Because you're only going to get good as hard as you train, and that's in anything. Like you could have all the talent in the world, if you don't learn from the right people and train, you cap yourself at a ceiling. So if you're already an athlete and you got that discipline to put the work in every day, put that work into training, and then you'll be on top of wherever you land, whether that's a sport, an industry, a job, a hobby. You'll be the best at it if you train hard enough.
I love it. I love it. And of course, you're going to recommend the Institute for that service advisor training, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they made me who I am. How couldn't I? And I only got to attend the 2-day trainings, and my brain was always swelling and pulsing. So I can't imagine the poor people that got to go through the 3-day boot camp, because they're going to learn everything there is about it in 3 days, and then come home and hopefully retain 10% of it, and they'll still be 10 times better of an advisor than they were before they went.
Oh, they will. They will. Whether you're new or experienced, come to the service advisor training. It's worth every single penny, for sure. For sure. Brandon, if you had a magic wand question, what would you change in the industry?
I'd remove the label that's been placed on our industry, far as the career, far as what people think when they bring their car into a shop. People don't think it's a lucrative career, whether you're a technician, advisor, manager, whatever. They'd rather you go be, work from home, fill out a spreadsheet, do something along those lines, computer-based, get a degree, whatever. And then same with when you bring your car to a shop, everybody's like, oh, they're going to try and sell me something. They're going to try and rip me off. They're crooks. When that's not the case. That's such a small percentage. And what the top 10 percenters, or especially 1%ers in our industries make, if that actually got out there and people understood how good of a career the automotive industry offers, I think we'd see a whole bunch of young people jumping for joy trying to get in. So yeah, if I had a magic wand, I'd remove the negative label that's been placed on our industry so people can actually see how amazing it is.
So true. So true. It is an amazing industry. It has treated us very well for many, many years and many years to come. There will always be transportation, which means there's always going to be a need for technicians, one form or another, and service advisors and owners and parts people and all the above. It's all there. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate your insight, your input. You definitely know what the heck's going on with service advisors and service advisor training. Brandon, thank you very much. Really appreciate you being here and sharing your story. Whether it's from fight camp to the front desk, your story is proof that discipline, resilience, and service can win the day on any stage, in any ring. So
Yes, sir.
thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you sharing your story with us.
Thanks for having me, Jimmy.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you guys soon. There's a QR code here at the very end. Those of you interested in an analysis of your business, looking at what makes it work, what makes it tick, what advice can we give to you that will make all the difference in the world, there's going to be a QR code here. It's up for about 30 seconds. So grab out your smartphone, scan this QR code, and let's see what we can do for you at the Institute. My name is Jimmy Lee. Talk to you again soon.